Welcome to Q2 of 2026. This is the first time that I've done like a quarterly astrology forecast. So obviously we did our 2026 for the year ahead. But now I want to break it down for just the next 3 months. I love when I do the month ahead, but you know how like one month spills over into the next, into the next. And so we have to kind of look at it as in like it's a story. 2026 is unfolding as a story. And so what I did here is I pulled up the chart of April 1st. I'm going to go through each of the planets, where they are starting right now, where you can see them on the chart, and where they're going to end up by July 1st. Now, I know July 1st seems like so far away, but when we're looking at the astrology story, right? What all the planets are up to, like Uranus, he's going to make a major move in the next 3 months into Gemini. We're going to have Jupiter move into Leo for the first time in 12 years in the next 3 months. We're going to have our dance between Neptune and Saturn strengthen, along with this crazy energy of 7 planets joining them this month. And we're also going to have the North Node get really close to the end of its journey in Pisces, and all the other planets moving extremely fast. So this is a story, it's a journey. The next 90 days are monumental in the astrology. When we started out in January, we started out with a lot of energy in Capricorn, in Aquarius, and in Pisces. This was the first 3 months, Q1 of 2026. And as you can see, we didn't have any major planets in Capricorn. So it was kind of a slow start to the year where we were like planning our dreams and our goals and to-do lists and getting kind of reset after last year. And we got into the eclipse season of February, right? And that's when we started to see a lot of the predictions that we were making in the collective with the wars and the aggression and other countries start to come together at the end of February. And now throughout March, we're in a full-blown attack and war with the Middle East again, right? And we're starting to notice gas prices go up and food shortages and all the things that we're predicting are going to literally explode in Q2. So I want to start out with your birth chart and talk about each planet. Pay most attention to your primary life coach. See what is going to be activated in your chart over the next 3 months. Then I'm going to switch over to my Google Calendar like I normally do. We're going to look at the date by date. I'm not going to go through every day of the next 90 days. That would take us forever. But I definitely want to highlight some days that you need to circle on your calendar, that you need to be mindful of. And then I'm going to talk about the themes and the energy and what we can experience. And most importantly, what we're going to do to be 2 steps ahead of the energy. So that's our plan for today. So starting out with the chart here, April 1st, we see the sun at 11 degrees of Aries. Remember, we are in Aries sun season right now. So this is where we are in the spring equinox energy, the fresh new beginnings, the fresh new starts. We have not had our first full moon or our first new moon yet of the year. So kicking off April 1st, starting out tomorrow, we are going to have the full moon in Libra. Now, I mentioned that in the astro weather that it happens in the evening. So April 1st at 10:12 p.m. and it's going to happen at 12 degrees of Aries. So you want to look at your birth chart. Do you have anything at 12 degrees of Aries or 12 degrees of Libra or near there? That full moon is going to impact you the most. So we kick off the month with the full moon. That full moon indicates the Sunday after always being Easter. So it's the first full moon of the astrological year. The Sunday following is always Easter. But we haven't had our first new moon of the year yet, okay? The first new moon of the year, you want to mark your calendar, is April 17th. That is when we're going to have those 7 planets in the Aries area of your birth chart come together. Neptune, Saturn, Sun, Moon. Over here, you can see Mars and Mercury getting in position to join in Aries, along with Chiron, who's been dancing through here for quite some time, and will actually be leaving Aries and entering into Taurus in the next 90 days as well. So we're getting in the tail end of the chapter of Chiron. That new moon is going to be at 28 degrees of Aries, which essentially means it's going to be activating Chiron in a massive way. So the Aries area of your life this month, up until the 20th of the month, so the next 3 weeks, Aries, Aries, Aries. If you did your astro forecast with me, you remember me telling you that by the time we get to April, don't plan anything over here in your life, over here in your life, over here in your life. You're going to have to be focusing on the Aries area of your life. It is going to demand your attention. It is going to cause you to look over here and to Saturn put in some discipline and some effort. It is the sun season of Aries. So this is your season of the astrological year where the sun is going to highlight this area of your life for you to see it clearly, to pay attention to it more than you would or should in the other 11 sun seasons of the year. And if you haven't taken my sun season planning workshop yet, I highly recommend it. Even if you know how to kind of plan with the sun moving throughout these areas, I give you like very specific to-dos. So if you have Aries in your ninth house, in that workshop, I'm like, then you need to do X, Y, and Z during Aries season because that pertains to your ninth house and so on. So I'm so obsessed with that workshop and the fact that I created it this year for you guys. So Aries season, through and through the first couple weeks. So new moon right at 28 degrees, full moon starting tomorrow at 12 degrees. Those are our lunations for April. The sun is starting out at 11 degrees April 1st, and it is going to go all the way to 9 degrees of Cancer by the time we get to July 1st. So what does this mean? Do you have any planets from 11 degrees of Aries to 29? Do you have any planets in Taurus? Do you have any planets in Gemini? And do you have any planets in the first 9 degrees of Cancer? If you do, that means the sun is going to highlight and illuminate that aspect within yourself. It is going to activate the lessons tied to that planet in your chart over the next 90 days. So with orb of influence, that will be about one specific week. So example, let's say you have your Saturn in Taurus and the sun is going to hit your Saturn during the next 90 days. Remember, your Saturn indicates in your birth chart the lessons you're meant to learn in this lifetime, your hardest obstacles, where you are personally supposed to take on more responsibility and more accountability. Every year when the sun hits your Saturn, that is going to be a specific day that awakens that lesson, that reactivates you, that brings some life and vitality of like, oh yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. These are some of the lessons I'm supposed to be learning in my life. But let's say it's your Mercury. When the sun hits your Mercury, then that's going to be a time where you are going to need to speak and express, where you're heard. That would be a day you'd ask for a promotion. It'd be a day where it'd be really good for you to write a social media piece of content, maybe send a text message to someone asking for a favor, right? The sun highlights and illuminates your voice and your wisdom and your knowledge, your brain. So those are some examples. Wherever the sun is crossing this month, if there's a planet there, it's going to be activated on a specific date, and we can dive more into that in a one-on-one session. I'm sure you guys know so much already about astrology that you can at least hint as to what that means and what that's going to be. So that is going to be the sun. If you are Leo rising, of course, that is going to be the most important thing as the sun journeys around your chart. And you're the one who definitely needs the sun season planning workshop because you are ruled by the sun. Then let's move on to Mercury. Okay, so if you're Gemini rising, Virgo rising, definitely pay attention. But for all of us, it's always important to know what Mercury is up to and where he's going to be in the sky. So let's make Mercury green so we can see what he's up to. So starting out April 1st, you see that Mercury is over here at 13 degrees of Pisces. So he just came out of retrograde. We are in retrograde free energy. So please remember that right now, all the way till May 6th, there are no active retrogrades. Everyone's moving forward. This is green light go. It's astrological new year, move forward, new horizons, new conversations, new offerings in your business, new. Now, Mercury is going to start out at 13 degrees of Pisces. And by the time we get to July 1st, he is actually going to surpass the sun, and he's going to make it to 26 degrees of Cancer. So almost through Cancer. So if you have obviously any planets from 13 to 29 Pisces, any planets in Aries, any planets in Taurus, any planets in Gemini, and almost every single planet in Cancer, unless they are after 26 degrees. So 26 or 27, 28, 29, you won't quite make it to Mercury. Now, this is important and significant because we just got out of a Mercury retrograde, right? We just finally wrapped that up. We're also excited. It ended on the 19th of March. So we're just about 10 days free of Mercury's retrograde shenanigans. However, at the end of these 90 days, on the 29th of June, he is going to be going retrograde in Cancer. And in July, he will be retrograding. This is important for us to future forecast because most people travel around the 4th of July. And we are going to be in a Mercury retrograde in Cancer, which symbolizes our homeland, right? Which symbolizes going to see family, being with family. Mercury traveling for and to family, to and from home, Cancer, may get disrupted. So we want to be mindful of that. It is going to be Cancer sun season as well. So all in all, to say, Mercury's going to be very busy. Mercury's on the move. There's a lot of new conversations we need to have. So when Mercury is in the Aries area of your life, you're going to be talking to people connected to that area of your life. When Mercury's in Taurus, you'll be talking and connecting to those people in that area of life for you, Gemini, and so on into Cancer. Knowing that this year in 2026, you're going to be spending an extra amount of time with your mental focus in the Cancer area of your chart. So let me give you the dates that you can be mindful of when Mercury enters into Cancer. He's going to get there on June 1st. So starting on June 1st, Mercury comes into the Cancer area of your chart. The whole month, he's going to be moving forward. So you're going to be speaking to people associated with that area of your life, connecting with people, negotiating things, signing contracts, maybe buying things, or just a lot of chit chat going around in association with the Cancer area of your chart. We get to the end of June and he's going to start retrograding back. And due to his retrograde, he's going to end up being in that Cancer area of your chart all the way until we get to August 9th. So June 1st to August 9th, the whole summer pretty much, you're going to be stuck mentally thinking about, communicating, reiterating, going back over hiccups, disruptions, all of that mercurial gunk in the Cancer area of your personal birth chart. So just keep that in mind. That's really going to get activated when we get into June. So definitely, again, my Gemini, Virgo risings, pay attention to that. It's going to be super important, super impactful. So that is Mercury. Let's move into Venus. So Venus is going to be starting out the month. We can see her here, brand new day 1 of the month, 1 degrees of Taurus. She's at home in Taurus. She loves to be in Taurus. This is our saving grace. And you'll see when we get to the calendar for April, thank the heavens, thank whomever you want to thank. Venus is going to be saving us with her beautiful, luxurious, sensual energy in Taurus. Now, one thing we need to talk about with Venus in Taurus is the fact that she helps us figure out what we love, what we find beautiful, what we find pleasurable. And that changes seasonally, right? We can have a season of our life where we're like obsessed with chocolate chip cookies. But then all of a sudden, we don't really care about chocolate chip cookies. We care about going outside and laying in the grass, or we have like an affinity for flowers and making our home beautiful. Venus is going to switch what we prefer, what we desire throughout the course of the year and tapping into different types of pleasure. When she's in Taurus, the pleasure is really surrounded around physical, tangible things. What you can smell, what you can taste, what you can touch, your environment, the lighting, the tone. It's a sensory pleasure, the sensory experience. So now is a good time for you to anchor, ground Taurus energy, right, into the tangible things that help you feel safe and secure and comfortable and stable and pleasurable. The other thing is, and this is kind of the predictive stuff that we didn't get into with the US birth chart, is the fact that we are going to have a lot of financial shakeups coming on the horizon due to a couple different reasons. One, Chiron will be moving into Taurus, triggering our biggest wounds around our material possessions. Again, Taurus is the finances. Taurus is our resources, not having enough, needing to hoard, needing to stockpile, feeling like things are going to get taken away from us. And these primal things within all of us are going to get Chiron triggered. And so that's where we're going to see a lot of famine. We're going to see a lot of price gouging, price increasing, gas going up, food going up, water going up, electricity going up. I want to talk more about that. But why I say that right now is because Venus is in Taurus and she's saying, enjoy it while you have it, appreciate it while you have it. Save your money while you can. You're going to need it for a rainy day. Like Venus is reminding us to indulge in the things that we have access to that could be taken away tomorrow. So love it, enjoy it, indulge in it, right? That is kind of a lesson that we're supposed to be learning right now. So starting out, April 1st, 1 degrees of Taurus. She is going to move from 1 degrees of Taurus. And by the time we get to July 1st, she is actually going to be all the way in Leo. She's the one who moves the fastest and the furthest to 19 degrees of Leo. So you're going to get that Venus energy crossing over every planet you have in Taurus, every planet you have in Gemini, every planet you have in Cancer, and up to 19 degrees of Leo in the next 90 days. So remember, as Venus moves through these 3 to 4 areas of your chart in the next 90 days, she's going to be asking you to look at those areas of your life and to make them more beautiful, to make them more pleasurable, to ask yourself questions around, do I value these things? Do I prioritize these things? So for example, if she is going to cross through your 4th house of home in the next 90 days, you would be like, ooh, what do I value in my home? What do I no longer like? Throwing away clothes, throwing away extra coffee cups, like making your home more beautiful and pleasurable. If she's crossing over, let's say your 8th house, right? So it's looking at your finances. How do I feel about investing in these things? How do I feel about paying off these loans? What am I prioritizing? My debt, like all the 8th house stuff, right? Let's clean it up. Let's make it more beautiful. Let's look at it in a way that makes certain things like our debts and loans more of a priority. Or wherever she's going to be crossing, okay? So she's going to help you make that area of life better. She's going to help you prioritize things, a little yearly cleanup, right? A yearly check-in as she comes to each area of your life once a year. And most importantly, she helps you receive, magnetize, right? The feminine energy, draw in some sort of abundance or beauty into that area of your life. So you have a capability of that over the next 90 days, wherever she's crossing for you. And again, my Libra risings, my Taurus risings, as Venus as your ruling planet, definitely something you're going to want to pay attention to. Then we get into the Mars of it all. So Mars obviously moves a little bit slower, but Mars is the one causing all the frickin' ruckus in the next 90 days. So we need to keep our eye on Mars because we can see Mars right here, starting out the 1st of this month at 23 degrees of Pisces. But by the time all is said and done, Mars is going to be at 0 degrees of Gemini, getting ready on the 4th of July to run into Uranus. This is why the next 90 days are going to be so combative, so explosive, so fiery, so disruptive, because Mars comes in like a freaking toddler, like an irritant, like someone that pokes and aggravates and like is so annoying to cause inflammation, to cause problems so that we address things, so we take action on things. Think about like when you've been pent up inside, you've got something you want to say, but it's not until that person like throws the first dig and you let it all out. Or where there's like a fire brewing below the surface. And then all of a sudden it just takes one spark and it kind of like explodes. Mars is the warrior. Mars is the aggressor. Mars is the masculine, right? Fighting for things. And he symbolizes like cutting and knives and accidents and all of that kind of aggression. So we see him. He is going to literally cross Neptune, cross Saturn, which is a day we've got on our radar, y'all. He is going to come into conjunction with Mercury. They're going to run into each other again, and Chiron. And there's a lot of other energies. And then he'll be, like I said, get ready to cross over Uranus 4 days after July 1st on the 4th of July. This brings the explosion. Not only that, but he's also going to be in Aries, right? His home sign. We have not had a strong Mars able to be aggressor since he's been in Scorpio. So that was last year. He's been a little debilitated in Pisces. Remember, this is why our energy, Mars is our energy. If you've been feeling more tired, you haven't been moving as fast, you haven't been as vital, you're not waking up with fire ants in your pants, like you're just like, oh, I'll get there. Oh, I only did one thing on my to-do list, right? Mars is in Pisces. Our energy feels like it's driving through a rainstorm. Like we're just not able to see clearly. We don't have that inner drive. Like we're not taking shortcuts. We're just like, you know what? If I just get there, I'm going to be happy. I don't care what time I arrive. As long as I get there, I'm going to be happy. As soon as Mars moves into Aries, it is a vibe shift for everyone. Those people born with Mars and Aries, they're going to be like coming home into themselves. They're going to be like on fire. Watch out for people with Mars and Aries. This is why relational astrology is so important, because you should know the people in your life and know who has a Mars and Aries, like my brother does. So I know when Mars moves into Aries, that man is going to be on fire. He's also going to be a little bit more aggressive. He's going to be a little bit more irritable because that's his natural energy. And now internally is matching the external. So if I've already prepared my mom, I'm like, hey, just so you know, he might have a short fuse. He might be calling you to get a bunch of stuff done. Like he's not going to be able to sit still for the 6 weeks that Mars is in Aries. Why I say this is because when Mars moves into Aries, all of us gets a little juice boost. All of us feels like we have more stamina. We all have a little bit more vitality. Like no matter where Mars is in your birth chart, you get an extra infusion from the external environment of Mars and Aries, a dominant energy. The negative with that is that it's happening to everyone in the collective, and it will happen to people that are going to use and channel that fiery, vital energy into aggression, into fighting. I want you to think about a group of people. If those group of people are tired, lack of sleep, malnourished, are they going to rebel? Are they going to have the energy to get up and fight you? No, you're not worried about them, right? They're weak. But if there's a group of people that look like they've gone to the gym and they've got fire in their pants and you could just tell they've got high chi, you're like, I'm not messing with those people. No way, Jose, right? This is where we start to see the collective, people getting more energy to fight for what they believe in, to fight against things, to fight with each other. And that comes out on a global scale where we see the military action, where we see more leaders being more bold, being more dramatic, taking more risks, poking other leaders, right? Getting that aggressor energy out where people are just like, I dare you, I challenge you. We're going to see this in small little groups, like in our family dynamics, to big groups like countries against countries. This is why April is so volatile. So the day that Mars moves into Aries, again, a day that we're going to want to mark on our calendar. And if you have your Astrology Alchemy Journal, you can look at April, the month of April. And it's going to happen on the 9th of April. Okay. So vibe shift, something we need to know about. How it helps you in your chart is if you have Mars in the Aries area of your chart and the Taurus area of your chart for the next 90 days, these are two areas of your life that you are going to take action on. You're going to make decisions on. You're going to make moves on. You're going to focus and exert most of your energy in your life into these two areas over the next 90 days. Okay. And again, my Aries rising, Scorpio rising, super important for you. So for me, my health house is Aries. Everyone knows that by now. So I know that I'm finally going to get some energy and some vitality back around my health, where I've been feeling very weak and not like motivated, right? And then Mars will move into my relationship house of Taurus. And then I know that I need to invest those 6 weeks into my relationship, into my partner, not my business, not my personal life, not other things, but like in my partnerships, my deep friendships. So this is how I plan, my upcoming months. So I'm kind of teaching you my hacks. All right, let's move it along. We're going to be here all day. Really want to get through this important stuff because this lays the foundation for you guys. All right, Jupiter. Jupiter starts out this month over here. We're finally moving to another area of the chart. He's over here in Cancer. Blessing, expanding, growing, bringing opportunity into this area of our life. He's now out of retrograde. Yay. This month in March, out of retrograde. So expanding this area of our life. He is literally going to go from 15 degrees all the way to the end of Cancer to 0 degrees of Leo by the time we get to the 1st. This means, look at how fast, in just 90 days, he is going to move through half of an entire zodiac sign. It's literally taken him from June of last year to get to only 15 degrees. right? He moved forward, then he retrograde. Now he is rocking and rolling. This is where we actually get some blessings, some expansion, some growth, some opportunity, some movement, some ease, some flow in the Cancer area of our chart. Finally, after so long. But then we will move into a major change, a major shift as we go into Q3 of 2026, where Jupiter will enter into Leo, where he gets very dominant, right? Jupiter loves to expand. He's a fiery energy. He's bigger and larger than life and loves to be grandiose. Get him in Leo, a dramatic, fiery energy, and things start expanding quickly. Things start moving rapidly. So let's just enjoy the Cancer energy. Remember, Jupiter says, I will give you blessing. I will give you opportunity. If you focus on this area of your life, come here for some gifts. So go to the Cancer area of your chart anytime you need gifts. Cancer for me is my travel house. It's my 9th house. So I am traveling to see my family in Germany, long distance travel, right? Going to places. So for you, what is it? How do you get some gifts in your life? Focus on the Cancer area of your chart and lean into that Cancerian energy, right? This is where we're going to see like nostalgia and things of the past, like really coming up. You're going to see people talking more and more about the good old days. Kind of been talking about that already, but you'll see that kind of explode even more. People wanting to buy secondhand, people wanting to go back to, I just saw a lady post, for example, on TikTok, how her and her family are doing 1 week of the 90s in their house. So they're literally going to live for 1 week as if it's the 90s. So no Alexas, no cell phones, just like all the like old school stuff. And her kids are like, what are you supposed to do all day? She's even saying it's really hard, so people are trying to go back to the good old days, the past of Cancerian energy. So my Sagittarius risings, Pisces risings, you're always lucky as ruled by Jupiter, but make sure you tap into this expansive abundance energy along with the rest of us, of course. Now we move into Saturn. Okay, our tough love dad, Saturn. He is very active this month. He starts out at 5 degrees of Aries. And in the next 90 days, he will be at 14 degrees of Aries. So do you have any planets between 5 and 14 degrees of Aries? If you do, Saturn is coming to activate that planet in your chart, and he has not done that in 30 years. Important to note here, right? Saturn is teaching us those lessons. We've been preparing with the 99-day challenge. He is going to be involved in the new moon. He's going to be involved when when Mars runs into him, when Mercury runs into him. We're going to have a triple conjunction in the middle of April. Triple, right? Anytime we have a 3, it's important for us to pay attention. And so we're going to literally have Mercury, Mars, and Saturn in a triple conjunction around the 20th of the month, the 19th and 20th of April. Big deal. So Saturn is getting ready to teach us some lessons, checkpoints, activations, obstacles. How bad do you want it? How much are you willing to fight for it? Again, it goes back to fighting, right? Is Aries, building Aries. How willing are you to be bold and brave and take the risk and move forward and not get a reward right away? Aries wants a reward right away. It's the toddler kicking and screaming in the grocery line. Just give me my candy. Saturn's like, nope. You can kick and scream all you want. You better keep building. You better keep working. You better keep being consistent, right? You're used to getting a reward in the Aries area of your chart for some kind of behavior. But Saturn says, nope, we're going to work a little harder. So that's what Saturn's up to this month. So my Capricorn Aquarius risings, you already know the drill with Saturn as your ruling planet. Okay, Uranus, big deal, big deal. Uranus in the next 90 days, life-changing, never had this happen before, moves into Gemini, April 24th, also this month. That essentially means our 7 years is done with Uranus shaking up this area of our chart. But more importantly, what it means is from today, April 1st, until the 24th of this month, final lessons. He's at 28 degrees. By the time we get to July 1st, he's going to be at 3 degrees of Gemini. So not very far. He's literally moving 28, 29, 1, 2, 3. When he gets to 4 degrees, that's when Mars catches up. And on the 4th of July at 4 degrees, we're going to have the Mars-Uranus conjunction. But before then, like I said, right now, shaking up any final lessons, final changes, choose change. What needs to break free? Where do you need to liberate yourself? What do you need to let go of in the Taurus area of your chart? It's a big month because it's going to be Taurus sun season. Venus is going to be conjunct him. We're going to have all the other planets like Mercury and Mars move into Taurus. So this Taurus area of your chart is getting those final shakeups. And Venus is going to bless that, right? This is for your own good. This is where you need to break free and take the next step. So there could be some unexpected twists and turns in the Taurus area of your chart. Be mindful of it. Could be good. It could be bad. It could be high highs. It could be low lows. It could be unexpected. It could be something that's been shaking for a long time and you're ready to let it go once and for all. When we get to the 24th of April, though, he is going to move into Gemini. This opens up a 7-year official chapter of Uranus shaking up that new area of your life, bringing in those unexpected things, right? We've talked about this before. We got a little preview last year in July, August, September, and October. It was very minor. It was just an intro. Now the real challenge begins. So when we get into May and we get into June, especially May, where we have Gemini sun season, where the sun is going to run into Uranus, right? Venus will be running into Uranus. Mercury will run into Uranus. That is activation right off the bat. We don't even get an intro period because literally it is going to be Gemini sun season. Sun, Uranus, boom, highlight, combust, bring the heat, bring the potential. Let's just break it down right from the get-go. Uranus says, I don't want to wait. We're not going to wait 7 years. We're not going to even wait 2 years. I want to enter into Gemini at the moment it's Gemini sun season. I want to enter in with Venus side by side. So expect this Gemini area of your life to go on a little roller coaster ride in May and June. Okay. I don't want any of you to be surprised. He is doing it for your own good, as much as we hate that as humans on planet Earth. If you have planets, again, at 1, 2, or 3 degrees of Gemini, get ready. Because that's going to activate that part of your chart in a way that's never happened before. Remember, we've never had Uranus in the Gemini area of our chart. So like, we can't even forecast it. We can't look back last year. We can't look back 2 years ago. We can't look back 30 years ago, like Saturn, the last time Saturn was in an area of our chart. It's unprecedented territory, okay? So it is a big deal the next 90 days. Then let's quickly talk about Neptune. So Neptune's not going to move very far. He goes from 2 degrees to 4 degrees of Aries. So he's just right here, dabbling, not moving very far. That's expected, right? The only thing with Neptune is he's going to hold the dream, hold the vision, keep working. Saturn, new moon, take an action step, move forward. Aries area of your chart, be bold, be brave, right? Communicate and take action and exert effort. Neptune just holds the dream down. So not too much to talk about with him. Pluto, on the other hand, is going to be a little shit stirrer. In the background, you notice how he's over here in Aquarius. It looks like he's far away. Looks like he has nothing to do with anybody, but he is going to stir up some drama and some trouble as we move through April into May. And why is that? Because look at how many planets. We've got Mars, that's going to be in Taurus. We've got Mercury, that's going to be in Taurus. We've got the sun, that's going to be in Taurus. And look at Venus is in Taurus right now. And we've got Uranus finalizing his time in Taurus. And what is Taurus? Taurus is a perfect square to Aquarius. And so that builds that fixed square energy. And if you guys have been in the Astro family for a while, you guys know that our fixed areas of our birth chart, right? Leo, Scorpio, and Taurus are the 4 areas of your birth chart that you don't like to change. They're fixed. They are how they are. We don't need to change it. It's all good until planets come to shake it up. Pluto is shaken up that Aquarius area of your chart, causing some transformation. And now all the planets visiting Taurus in the next 90 days are going to square Pluto, square Pluto. Pluto says, what? Transform, take on your power, do something big, burn something down, rise from the ashes, right? Get in there deeper, dig out the roots. What is holding you back? What about your fear? What about that psychological trauma? Like all that behind the scenes stuff, Pluto is activating you from under the surface. It's like this overwhelming feeling of like, oh my God, I need to do something about this right now, right now. So we're going to get power surges. We're going to get control, taking control. Like it's like this psychological feeling. So he looks like he's far away, but he's going to be very active. And mind you, again, we're going to start having eclipses over here in July. We're going to have Jupiter over here in July. And then all that's going to be opposite Pluto. So Pluto is he's working his magic over here. He's doing the damn thing. And we'll talk more about some dates to pay attention to with that. But Pluto, all in all, is not moving very far. He's literally at 5 degrees of Aquarius, and he is going to be the next planet to go into retrograde. So we are currently retrograde free until May 6th. And on May 6th, Pluto will kick off our retrograde season again. And then he'll be moving backwards to 4 degrees. So that is Pluto. Now, the last two things that we need to mention real quick are the nodes, the North and the South node of destiny. We've got the North node over here in Pisces, the South node over here in Virgo. In the next 90 days, they are really close to wrapping up their journeys in those two areas of our life. So starting out at 8 degrees, and by the 1st of July, they will be at 1 degrees of Pisces and 1 degrees of Virgo. So if you have any planets from 0 to 8 degrees of Virgo or Pisces, you're about to get a North and South node activation. North node is that North Star that's like, hey, look over here. Some fated things could be happening. Some changes could be in store. Something new is opening. And the South node is cutting away and removing. So all that stuff that's been going on for the last year with the eclipses, what newness is happening in the Pisces area of your chart? Where are you expanding? What is coming in? Where are you being drawn towards? Is going to be activated and wrapping up over the next 90 days. And the Virgo area of your chart, where you've been removing and it feels like a vacuum and you're letting go and you're surrendering, is going to be wrapping up as well in the next 90 days. So that's the nodes. And then you got Chiron. Now let's go back to Chiron. Remember how I said Chiron is moving out of Aries? You see him over here, 25 degrees. He's going to be by the 1st of July at 0 degrees of Taurus. So if you have any planets in Aries, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 degrees, you're going to get a Chiron activation. Chiron has not been in Taurus in almost, I want to say over 50 years. I got to go back and look at the exact timing. It has been a half a century. And he comes in to shake up wounds, right? To stir up things that need healing. And so with him moving into the Taurus area of your chart, for many people, it's going to be the first time in your life. For others of you, it's going into your first ever Chiron return. Chiron is going to start triggering and poking and irritating and helping you see what kind of wounds need to be healed in that area of your chart. That is going to get activated on June 19th. But that again means before then, okay, so I have the date here. He has not been in Taurus since 1984. So it's been a really long time. That means before he's going to be bringing up any final wounds in the Aries area of your chart. Now, mind you, he is going to retrograde back to Aries. He's only giving us a preview of Taurus themes, but this means we're coming to a completion, a cycle of what have you healed in the Aries area of your life in the last 10 years? What has been triggered? What has been a pain point? What has been like inflamed? Like what associated to that area of your life have you been working through on a physical level, on an emotional level, on a deeper relational level? Some of that might come up really intensely between now and June 19th until he moves into Taurus, as he gets more and more into those anaretic and potent degrees. Something we definitely want to be mindful of. And of course, it's Aries sun season. So all of that combined. So this gives you a really good idea of what's going on over the next 90 days. As you can see, it's pretty much half your chart super activated and the other half of your chart being completely ignored. So that's, kind of the yin and the yang of our astrological cycles. So all of that, hopefully that's helpful. If you guys have any questions, just drop them in the chat. And then, like I said, at the end, I'm going to go back into the chat and we can circle back. That way you don't forget anything that's maybe in your head right now. So feel free, put them in the chat. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the screen and we're going to go into the calendar. So if you have your Astrology Alchemy journal, if you have your own personal calendar, or if you just want to take notes, I want to kind of go through some major dates. And again, those energetic themes, and you're going to be able to see from the color coding that I do, what those months actually look like from the color coding. So let me quick switch the screen here for you. And I'm going to go back to April. Actually, I'm going to go back to March. That way you can kind of see what this past month looked like in comparison to the upcoming month. So let's switch this. How are you guys doing? Feel free to pop in the chat. I'm going to go look in the chat. Are you guys with me?
Yes.
Yay, love it. Okay, I see Ivy put some stuff in. I will circle back, Ivy. Perfect. Okay, ladies, yay. Okay, so this was March. You can see a lot of activity in March, right? Almost every single day we had some stuff going on, some little pockets of energy. March has kind of been what do we want to say? A modge podge of energy. You can see we've had some red days, some challenging days. We've heard some crazy things in the news, but we've also had some good days. We've also had some easy days. We've had some lucky days. So if you feel like March was kind of a month where it was like, yeah, this good thing happened, but this really crappy thing happened. And I had this really big breakthrough, but also I had this huge obstacle land on my plate. And then all of a sudden I felt like I was really tired, but then other days I was like super productive. That's because you can see March here is all different colors. There's been a lot going on. Now, let me show you April. April has a lot of orange and a lot of red. This is the roughest month of the entire year. Okay. We've been building up to this month. And now there's a lot of fire. There's a lot of intensity. And we're dealing with some of the heaviest hitting planets in the month of April. We're dealing with Saturn. We're dealing with Mars. We're dealing with Uranus. And we're dealing with Pluto. So while we have some days where there's nothing going on, those will be our saving grace days, allow us to take a breath and like recalibrate, but it's going to be intense. So I want to kind of break down some of that and what that looks like. So, like I said, Venus is in Taurus. She's our saving grace. So the 3 days that we have that are pink, 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 that's because of Venus. She sextiles the North Node. Sextiles are really like lovely energies. She sextiles Jupiter, right? The two benefics, having a good, sexy conversation where we can tap into those pockets of energies. And she sextiles Neptune, which is our dreamy, romantic planet. Thank the heavens for Venus in Taurus tapping into this energy for us. But the rest of the energy is orange, beware, red, holy moly. So I want to break down some of those days. So again, just a reminder, Libra full moon tomorrow, highlighting and illuminating relationships and all the things that need to like get more in balance, more in harmony, bring back some equilibrium into our life, recalibrate our relationships. We're really, really going to need our relationships. And then we've got the new moon in Aries, which is the first new moon of the astrological year. So I really want you to highlight and focus on the 17th of the month. Now, this is the first new moon of the year. This is a great opportunity in Aries to initiate and take action and start something new, launch the thing, sign the contract, start something. But I want you to see the energy that's baked into this new moon. Yikesies. Orange, 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 red, 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 red. Okay. Like we are talking pretty much this whole entire week, but 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, spilling over into the 21st. Beware, beware, and I'll explain why. So, this is our hotspot of the month. Even kicking off this week, when we get to Friday, I really want you to pay attention to what's going on Friday with Venus square Pluto. We know that Venus symbolizes what we love, what we prioritize, but it deals a lot with our material possessions. It deals with finances. In Taurus, it deals with finances and money associated with the earth, with resources, with things that we need for survival, right? Taurus is all about the things for stability and security. It's the earth, it's the seeds that we plant, it's the food that we grow, it's the air that we breathe. And why this is pertinent is because Pluto is going to destroy and to transform. I really can see that by Friday, we're going to start to see some of the most crazy information, data, like subtly coming into our awareness of like, holy crap, gas prices are going up and they're not coming back down. A shakeup in the financial markets where people are responding and reacting. If you're paying attention to like the Strait of Hormuz, and this is where all the petrol and all the gas and all of that has to get passed through this strait. And Iran is like blocking that. So everything in our supply chain, from planes to cars to trains to trucks to creating plastics, like everything that requires gasoline and petrol is going to skyrocket in price. And we might hear some news around that. We might see the stock markets kind of like flare up because of this. So we're going to start to see like money and goods and resources not only become heightened in cost because of this transit, but also becoming more scarce. And Pluto transforms things. So it transforms the way in which we relate to, or we acquire, or like how we find our power within the lack of resources. That's I think the biggest lesson for us in this is how would you handle it, right? Pluto is like my power, my strength, my control. How would you handle it if all of a sudden your water got turned off? Like, could you handle it? Would you know what to do? What would you do if they said that you're no longer allowed to drive your car? You know, how would you get from point A to point B? Like, it's time for us to get strong. It's time for us to like be prepared, because things are, you guys know, we've been talking about this in the astrology for over a year. Like, things are about to get rough. They're going to get rough for all of us in many different ways. And like, it's happening. Like, this is the month where we start, that train is on the tracks and it is not turning around anytime soon. And we're just going to start to see the ripple effect of that. So I'm curious how Friday is going to start playing out. And then we get into the Sun square Jupiter on the 5th. So this is where we see Jupiter kind of like dramatizing things, right? Jupiter is larger than life. The Sun is like, it dictates rulers and leaders and kings. So this is a day where people could be like over boisterous, overconfident, over dramatic, like people making bold statements. This could be in your personal life as well. You want to be really careful for being too cocky on that day. You want to be careful of like how you are perceived, right? The Sun is like how we show up and how we identify. So we might see some like bold statements being made because of what's probably happening by this weekend. Luckily, Monday, Tuesday next week, nothing too terrible. I got my eye on the 8th. Mars sextile Uranus. This is happening at 29 degrees, but it's only a sextile. So it's kind of like Mars saying, like, hey, what are we doing to change? What actions are we taking? Like, how are we moving forward? It's a little bit more of a powerful position. But again, Uranus is at 29 degrees of Taurus. He is ready to shake some ish up in the Taurus area of your chart. So I would be really careful in the Taurus area of your life. What has Uranus been shaking up? What still feels destabilizing? What do you feel is hanging on by its final thread? Because Mars on this day may come in and cut it. So this could be like one of those days where it's like, gotta let it go. Gotta let it go. I'm so over this. Or there could be this action that you take that is surprising in that area of your life. So I definitely think there's something correlated here to that final Uranian shakeup. And then the 9th, that's the day I was saying, you guys, be prepared for energy shift, vibe shift. Mars moves into Aries. When Mars moves into Aries, he's got to run into Neptune, right? Then he's got to run into Saturn. So these are the hot spots as he moves into his home sign. He's like, honey, I'm home. Let's throw a party. And Neptune and Saturn are like, we've been waiting for you, right? This is also the day when Mercury is completely done with his retrograde post shadow. So clear, moving forward, not circling back, any of that Piscean stuff that was going on, the wonky, weird Mercury retrograde. I still feel like I'm having tech glitches. I still feel like time is an illusion, like all that mercurial stuff. Like, we're done with it when we get to the 9th. This is the weekend to put on your calendar if you have some stuff that you want to do. Look, the 10th, 11th, 12th, no astro weather events, no challenging things. This is a good weekend. I'm running a 5K on that weekend. We have an event on that weekend. Like Sunday, I'm planning to get a bunch of work done. Like, love it. Okay. Love that weekend. Good energy. But then we're going to buckle up. We're going to buckle up, because Mars is going to run into Neptune. We're not going to know. We're going to be taking action. We're going to be fighting for things, but nothing is real. Like, what are we fighting for? We're literally, Neptune is our belief. It's like, we believe you're the bad guy, but you might not actually be the bad guy. Or people might be like shooting weapons and it's like, Neptune is like a fog. It's like a haze. It's like shooting the wrong target. It's about fighting against the wrong enemy. It's about being aggressive towards something that you're like, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Right. It's like someone runs into you in the grocery store with their shopping cart and they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I just wasn't paying attention. And you're like, what the hell? And you go off on the person. You want to be very careful with Mars, your action. We are going to feel like we're a little bit more antsy in our pantsy. So you might be moving quickly, taking action. And Neptune can bring kind of like accidents. It can bring things that are like water related. So, water related accidents, you want to be definitely mindful of like water and electricity and all of that on the 13th. But thank God Venus is there with sextiling Jupiter. So there's a little lovey dovey energy. I love that. Venus and Jupiter kind of just bringing some like abundance, some opportunity. There could be opportunity with finances, opportunity with business. Yeah, so that's a little saving grace. Then we get to the 14th, more fire. More fire. Mercury moves into Aries. And that's going to bring that seventh planet into Aries in preparation for the new moon that's going to happen on that Friday. So literally when we get to Wednesday, the 15th, we got the sun, we got the moon, we got Mercury, we got Mars, we got Saturn, we got Neptune, we got Chiron. By the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, fire, 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 aggression, all that warrior energy coming to a head like a nasty little pimple with a pus about to like explode everywhere. That is what this is energy is going to feel like. Like it has been brewing like a cyst under the surface where you're like, ooh, that's hot. Ooh, that's tender. Oh my God, is that ever going to come out? And then it comes out and you're like, holy crap, that is disgusting. That is literally this pent up energy because on the 16th, we've got the sun conjunct Chiron, okay, massively inflaming all of the wounds, all of the triggers, all of the irritation. It's like literally getting a sunburn on a scab that is like raw and wounded, right? Like imagine you cut yourself and then you go in the sun and you let the sun bake that cut and it would just be like red and raw and pussy, like irritation, especially in that Aries area of your life. What hasn't been healed yet? What still needs some aloe rubbed all over it, right? And then you got Mercury conjunct Neptune. So our words aren't making sense. Neptune is like delusion. We're like saying things and it's like not factual. And we're telling people our beliefs and making up stories. And it's like, what the heck? No one can see clearly right now, but we're so mad that we shouldn't be taking action because we don't even know what the hell is going on. And people are going to be saying things that aren't true. People are going to be like instigating things. I want you to be so careful this weekend with the news and social media and what people are saying. It's literally just to trigger people. It's going to be very dangerous what's coming out. And then Mars is sextiling Pluto. So he sextiles Uranus and then he sextiles Pluto. Mars and Uranus, we don't like it. Mars and Pluto, we don't like it, right? Because that is going to activate Uranus. Mars says, take action, Uranus. Mars says, take action, Pluto. Destroy things, transform things, break things down, right? Get people riled up, dig deep. And that's baked into that new moon, right? So there's a new beginning, there is a new birthing, there's a new start. The positive to see in this is that whatever is breaking down, whatever chaos is happening is leading us into the next reality, the next timeline of the United States, of your relationships, of your career, of countries, of borders, of like whatever, right? Like this has to happen so we can get into the next chapter. We're just not going to see it quite yet. And then we get into the 19th. 19th and 20th, hide your wives, hide your kids, stay home, lock the doors, turn off the TV, like get into a bubble, pray, meditate, whatever we got to do. Like it's going to feel fiery. I am actually going to be on a plane traveling to Germany on these 2 days. And funny, if you guys know, I've been talking about this forever. Every time I plan a trip, it ends up being that I fly on a new or full moon. And I never plan it. Like I had to go through 5 hours of fuckery, let's just say that, of planning this trip by using my credit card points. And I actually wanted to fly on this day, but I couldn't get a cheap flight. And then I wanted to fly on this day. So I picked the 17th. And it wasn't until a week ago, I go, oh crap, that's the new moon in Aries. Cool story. And I fly home. I was supposed to fly home on the 30th. I fly home on the 1st, on the full moon in Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio rising, and Aries is my health house in the North Node. So, yay for me in this planning. But you know what? We are going to rock it. We're going to roll it. I'm going to be in Germany by the 19th and 20th, whatever happens with this triple conjunction Saturn, Mars, Mercury. I definitely see this as being some military action taking part, some sort of aggression, some sort of I don't know, Saturn like really is like militaristic. There's like some sort of like thing that you do that you can't take back, that there's some sort of consequence for, right? It's Lord Karma. And then Mars and Mercury together is like argument, friction. We've already had Mars and Mercury conjunct. So I'll be posting that in the Astro Weather Report, but I want you to remember this is going to be the third time that Mars and Mercury have come together. So I want to go back and research in the news what happened in March when they conjuncted and what happened in February, because this is going to be the third and the final time. And it's literally in the middle of Saturn and Mars. So we know there's some aggressive fighting words that is going to come up and out because it's all happening in Aries. Last time Mercury and Mars conjunct, it was in Pisces. Now it's going to be in Aries. So definitely heated. The sun moves into Taurus. So Taurus sun season kicks off, which seems like a great thing, right? Except for that, we've got Uranus in its anaretic final degrees of Taurus. So the sun is just going to highlight those Uranus things that is going to break this final week, because not only is this happening, but Uranus moves into Gemini. And Venus will conjunct Uranus, and they will hold hands side by side and move into Gemini. Thank gosh for that, because that flavors the 7-year transit of Uranus and Gemini with a little bit of Venusian energy. Like, don't worry, whatever breaks down, whatever disruption, whatever shakeups, it's because we're making it more beautiful, because we're making it more pleasurable, and it doesn't feel so terrible. So she initiates that entry, and they move in side by side. But then we get to the 25th. And remember when I did the graph that we just looked at, that square, that big black square I did from Pluto to the sun and to all the planets in Taurus? This is that first activation, Sun square Pluto. So we want to be mindful of that day. It's going to be definitely that transformation. So whatever is happening the weekend before, we're going to start to see it clearly. Oh, this is what's breaking down. Oh, this is the destruction. Oh, Pluto is transforming. Oh, okay. I see it. Sun highlighting it. And then we get to the end of the month. Now, there's a bunch of blue days. These are like so insignificant in comparison to everything going on that I'm like, this is petty. Sun sextile North Node is cool. We can tap into it, but it's petty in comparison. Venus trine Pluto, like I do like that energy, but again, not super massive. I'm not going to go through all the days because we still need to get through 2 more months, you guys, 2 more months. So pay attention, April. Obviously, this is what we're going to talk about in the Astro family. I'm going to keep you up to date. We're going to break it down. I'm going to help you guys understand what more to do. But yeah, keep an eye on all of those dates. Now moving into May. Little vibe shift in May, okay? Do we see the difference? Let's go back. April, orange, red, orange, red, orange, red. May, there's a lot of blue. Blue is insignificant, or there, maybe not as noticeable. There can tap in if you want. Not major, not massive. Now, it doesn't mean we're scot-free, because you can see here, we still have some orange days, and we do have some red days. But we only have one day that has orange and red together. Where if we look at April, we got lots of days where there is more than one orange and more than one red. So May is a little bit better. The reason that we have this week as kind of our hot spot is because we, again, have Mars and Pluto, right? We've got those squares from Taurus into Aquarius. That's a little bit challenging. So let's kind of start out with the beginning of the month. I'm going to kind of get into how we start out May. We start out with May with a full moon in Scorpio. 11 degrees, sun at 11, moon at 11, an 11-11 portal on the first of the month. This is going to be kind of this energy of like, what are we supposed to be doing here? What are we supposed to be letting go of? What are we supposed to be releasing, right? So 11-11, very fated, very destined, very easy for you to kind of move on into the next chapter after everything that you've experienced and learned and seen and heard and decided and took action on from the month of April. Mercury will conjunct Chiron, however, at that full moon. And so that is going to, again, help us communicate to use our words, to heal our wounds, to research, to learn, to figure out, okay, this is still painful. Okay, Chiron is in my Aries house for just another month. Remember, in June, he's moving into Taurus. So I got to learn, I got to ask questions, I got to figure out how to heal these things because damn, I figured out in April, these things hurt because it's going to be conjunct the new moon because the sun is going to highlight it, right? So we're like, oh man, okay, I guess there's still some wounds to heal. And we'll get an opportunity to start getting to that, doing the work to do it. And then we get to Mercury and Taurus. So that's going to be lovely. Our mind shifting into more peaceful, beautiful conversations. Not too much that we need to talk about right now. Okay, the other day that I want to kind of highlight here is on the 6th of May. That's when Pluto's retrograde begins. So that's where we're backing up all that destruction, all that's been happening. Now it's time to go back and deal with the fear, deal with the trauma, deal with the things that are underneath that transformation that's super necessary. And that is going to be when we start moving slowly into our retrograde energy again. But I mean, look at this, pretty much from the 6th until the 13th, nothing major. Like we get the sun conjunct Mercury. And the only reason I put this as an orange is because we want to pay attention to the rhythms of the sun and Mercury because they come together during retrogrades. And then in between retrogrades, they meet up again. This is how they yin and yang and seesaw back and forth. And so it just has a connection to the Pisces Mercury retrograde and the upcoming Cancer Mercury retrograde. But we're going to break that down and talk more about it. And I'm going to connect the dots in your life from that date to this date to the next date in a separate voice memo. That's the only reason I put it as orange, is like a pay attention day. So essentially from the 6th until the 16th, that is 10 days in May, where life's going to feel a little bit more okay. We're not going to get thrown for another loop. We're going to get to breathe. We're going to get to figure out what is going on. We're going to be able to get some ducks in a row. Like, I'm really looking forward to this week, and I know it's going to be so necessary. And that's going to lead us into the Taurus new moon. And Taurus new moons always help us plant new seeds, always help us like get into the earth. Like we do our ritual with like making moon water and watering our flowers and planting our intentions. It's a beautiful new moon. We do have Mars conjunct Chiron on that day. So we do want to be careful, right? Mars is going to trigger and inflame, again, those freaking Chiron wounds. Chiron is ruthless the next 6 weeks for us, okay? Because of the new moon, because all the planets are going to activate it. So just be mindful, but again, it's all for healing. Now, when we get into the 17th and moving through, Mercury's going to enter Gemini, and that's going to also allow him to activate Uranus. So that Uranus energy is freshly in Gemini. This is where we start to see the Uranian shakeups start happening. So I want you to pay attention to the week of May 17th until the 24th. Mercury is going to conjunct Uranus. The sun is going to conjunct Uranus. Remember how I said we're going to have a week where all of a sudden Uranus is new in Gemini and he's like, all right, we're going to do it right away. Right now, shake it up. Let's start. That's going to be this week. Now we also have 2 more. Look at this, orange, and 2 more here. So these are very big days for us. This is the week that we want to be mindful of, especially in that Gemini area of our chart. Mercury in Gemini, Sun in Gemini, Uranus in Gemini. Shakeups in the Gemini area right off the bat. The other thing is we're going to see Mars move into Taurus and Venus will move into Cancer. And so that moves Mars into that Taurus area of your chart that I was mentioning earlier. So this is where you're going to start taking action in that area of your life, investing most of your energy into that area of your life, making decisions in that area of your life. But that does mean, because Mars moves into Taurus, and Taurus is a fixed energy, that he is going to square Pluto over there in Aquarius, the other fixed energy. So our Mars square Pluto day is the 26th, the day after Memorial Day. So we want to be mindful. Mars square Pluto is only going to re-trigger all that destruction that Pluto was doing. Remember, back here in April, we've had all that Sun square Pluto energy that was activated and the other planets activating Pluto, Venus square Pluto, right? So that's going to kind of come back around again at the end of May, another activation, another fight, another argument, another battle, another aggression, another bombing. Like it literally is this crazy energy. So we want to be mindful of that day. And the sun is trining Pluto. So the sun is also bringing its potency. And if it's trining Pluto, it's sextiling Mars. So there is a lot going on here. Be mindful of this week. So that's pretty much May. It's not crazy. we're just going to move through some of that energy. Venus will square Saturn. So that's where we're going to have to take some responsibility for Venus, our finances, our material possessions. I think this is a day where shit gets real. And we're going to have to start counting our pennies and we're going to start tightening our budgets. And you're going to see, especially if you run a business, especially if you, are in a phase of your life where you're trying to like move into retirement, you're trying to start a business. Like this is where we're going to start to see a lot of financial repercussions with Saturn and Aries and Venus squaring that. So we just, I think by the end of May, it's going to be very clear where we're at. Now look at June. Oh my gosh, look at June. Even better. There are so many other astro weather events that I just didn't even want to put them on the chart because they were all going to be blue. They were all so petty in comparison to what we've been through. June is freaking lovely. It's going to be the nicest month of the entire year. We only have that Pluto retrograde until the end of the month when we're going to have Mercury joining the retrograde, but that doesn't happen until the 29th. So still very clear energy. We're going to be having a Sagittarius full moon at the end of the month of May into June. Then we get the Cancerian energy coming in strong. So it looks very lovely. I would say the first half of the month for sure. The 9th is our benefic planet day. So once a year, we've got Venus and Jupiter that come conjunct. That day this year in 2026 is the 9th of June. So yay for that day. Lovely for any kind of relational, financial endeavors. This is where you could get a boost of money, a lucky draw of money. It's going to be in the Cancer area of your chart. So remember I said, for the next 90 days, Jupiter is going to run 15 to 29 degrees of the Cancer area of your chart. This is the day right towards the tail end where they're going to conjunct. And they're going to conjunct at 25 degrees of Cancer. Which now that I say that, I think that's where my moon is. I need to check that because that would be absolutely lovely for Mandy. But yeah, so that is going to be a beautiful day in the Cancer area of your life. You want to wait for that. It'll be a saving grace. And then we've got this day. So this day, I think we're going to see something interesting happen. I think this is when we start to get into our next new reality. And the reason I say that is because we've got the North and the South node, which is fate, right? New destiny, cutting away, releasing things that don't serve. And you've got Uranus square the nodes. This doesn't happen very often at all. If I can think really quickly off the top of my head, how often you're going to have the bending of the nodes with Uranus, like this won't happen again for 8 years. Like it's going to be a hot minute before this happens again, maybe even longer, maybe 10 years by the time Uranus moves or longer than that. So significant day where Uranus comes in to the North and the South node in a square and says, let's break this. Let's move it along, right? Let's choose change. So I think that Pisces, Virgo area of your chart in the relationship to the Gemini area of your chart, there could be a shakeup. This one is so on my radar. I think globally and collectively, I can't wait to talk more about it. Very interesting day. And then Venus moves into Leo. Love, love, love. Venus in Leo is being dramatic, dressing bold, dressing gorgeous, luxury, royalty, all of that energy. Gemini new moon. And then just a good, easy week. I mean, we do have Venus opposite Pluto, which again, just like brings some power changes and dynamics into our relationships with our finances. I think we could also have a little financial situation on our hands with this energy. Maybe even some monetary things changing in the banking system, people like not being able to take money out of their bank, having to pay in different ways. This is where you can see like crypto becoming very like permanent as a form of payment. So I definitely think Pluto is going to bring the transformation to the financial sector, but also to some of the things that we love in a material way, how we shop, how we acquire things that we love. So it should be an interesting day. And then, like I said, right away, Chiron in Taurus. This is where I think the scarcity, the lack of resources, us learning to live with less, people's money getting shaken up. Like this is where I really think it gets serious. So yeah, I'm very nervous and hesitant to see how this plays out because I think that all these people are spending way beyond their means. I think people are planning all these luxurious, lavish trips and like we're going to get some rude awakenings. I think there's going to be a lot of restrictions by June to travel, there are already countries saying that people have to work from home. It's mandatory because there's not enough gas. Like gas pumps are running out in Japan. My cousin's in Japan right now, in other parts of the world. And they're just saying, like, no, we're going to save the gas that we have for emergencies, for emergency vehicles, saving gas for trucking and delivering stuff. So any personal use of a vehicle and gasoline, like you can't, or people like limiting how much you can buy, even like prices going up and down in the grocery store day by day in correlation to the stock markets. Like, I think it's going to be really wacky and weird and like a COVID 2.0, but like nothing to do with like illness, but rather to do with resources. So I'm just seeing it and I'm hearing other astrologers talk about it. And it's very like, yeah, I hope it's not true. I hope I'm so freaking wrong, you guys. I hope this is like the one time I am like full of shit. And yeah, I pray for that. So it doesn't pay to be wrong in this scenario. But yeah, and then the sun moves into Cancer. This is a very lucky, beautiful day. Sun square Neptune. So the sun is checking in on those Neptune dreams and beliefs. This is where the sun in Aries sun season right now. I want you to think about this. We're future forecasting. We're sitting right here in Aries sun season today, right now, sun conjunct Neptune in the same area of our chart, building that new dream, taking action, being bold. Like, what is the new Aries new moon? And when we get to the end of June, the sun is in Cancer. It's in a square to Aries. It's checking in. Hey, it's been a while since Aries sun season. By the time we get to the end of June, we had a lot of shit happen in April. We had a lot of shit happen in May. We've had some time off in June. Oh my God, it's the 25th. Let's check in. The sun's going to highlight that Neptune dream. Do you still hold the vision? Do you still have the belief? Do you still see what's possible? Are you still working on it? Right? And Venus is trining Saturn. So, are we still loving what we're working on? Are we still building the thing that makes our life feel beautiful and pleasurable? This is a beautiful check-in day of all the things that are happening in our life right now during Aries sun season. And then we get to the last few days of Q2 of 2026, and it is a busy one. We are going out with a bang. Mars moves into Gemini, literally 4 days away from running into Uranus and blowing everything up. That was what we talked about in the US birth chart, right? With Uranus conjunct Mars on the birthday, in the Uranus return, in the Mars return of the US chart. Like, what is going to happen? So that's a big day. We have the full moon in Capricorn on the 29th. Mercury retrograde begins and everything gets wonky again. So if you're planning to travel for the 4th of July, could you leave this weekend? Could you get there early? Because I feel like anyone that's going to be traveling these days, you got a Mercury retrograde. In the US birth chart, where the sun is in Cancer, right? Because obviously the sun is in Cancer, being Cancer sun season on the 4th of July. So not loving that. And then Jupiter moves into Leo. Goodbye, Jupiter in Cancer. Remember, he'll be at his anaretic degree the final 2 weeks of June. Last minute blessings, last minute gifts, last minute opportunities in the Cancer area of your chart. Then he says, bye, see you later. In 12 years, you'll get more blessings from me. I've done my job. I'm moving into Leo, and I'm going to start blessing that area of your life. And I am thrilled because it is my career house. And I actually just made a story on my Instagram about that today. About 4 years ago, I was like, I just want my business to blow up. And I looked at my 40th birthday and I was like, damn, I got Jupiter in my career house. And then I realized it happens in July of 2026. And I've been waiting for 5 years for this. So I can't wait. But we have to get through the next 90 days, right? For the Leo area of our life to get blessed. And then the eclipses come into that area of our chart as well. And remember how I said Uranus is going to square the nodes on this day? So I think there's some sort of shakeup that's fated and destined in the collective and the ecliptic energy, eclipsing in, eclipsing things out, where Uranus is like, boom, electrical, out of the blue, sudden, unexpected. We're not waiting. It's going to be very Uranian. Mars does the same dance with the nodes. Mars says, take the action. Now the moves have to be made. And that's how we end the month. So we've got a lot on our plate. Like I said, I'm so grateful that I like had the epiphany to do this as like a quarterly thing instead of month to month. I think it gives you a lot better overview to see it all collectively and understand like that thread of energy that is going to continue all the way till July. We will then do another one of these towards the end of June. So somewhere right around here, probably around the full moon. So we can look at July, August, and September. As we look ahead, massive months. July, we're going to have obviously the conjunction with Mars and Gemini. We're going to have the new eclipse cycle beginning. We're going to have eclipses in August, massive eclipses. In September, we're in full retrograde season. So there's more to come, but the next 90 days is really going to set us up. So that's all I really have for you guys. I would say my best piece of advice, kind of leave you with something tangible. Look at your birth chart, see what areas of your life are going to need the attention and the focus. Obviously, Aries, Taurus, and the new stuff to come with Uranus and Gemini. Prepare all the things that I mentioned. If shakeups happen, if disruptions happen, if things go a little wonky, if you're feeling irritable, it's all part of the process, right? Really knowing those lessons and understanding those lessons is what's going to benefit you the most, and to help you get through that. The other thing I'm going to say is that really tap into that Aries new moon. Yes, there's a lot of volatility around it, but you can still take action. You can still set something into motion. So I would highly recommend that. The other thing is save your pennies. I've been saying that for years, being very smart and intelligent of what you're investing your money into. Your health is going to be number one with all this Aries energy, right? You want to be able to outrun somebody. You want to be able to have enough energy to think, work on your brain power. Uranus and Gemini in a collective way is going to wreck our nervous systems. Uranus is electric. Uranus is volatile. And Gemini deals with our nervous system and our brain. Our brains are going to feel like they're on fire. We're overstimulated. There's too many news articles. There's too many fires. There's too many things going on. It's going to be so hard to keep up with current events. And it's meant to distract you. It's meant to crash your nervous system. So anything you can do to prepare for Uranus and Gemini is going to put you in a superior position. This is why I've been so focused on mental wellness. If you follow me on social media, I've been talking so much about nootropics and brain health and working on my nervous system and taking things to calm my nervous system, like holy basil and saffron. I want my mind firing on all cylinders. I want to wake up with no brain fog. I want to get my gut health right. So I'm absorbing my nutrients, because what happens in 2 months when food is scarce and you're not able to go to the store and buy all the things you want, you better be absorbing 100% of the nutrients of the little bit of food that you can get that is nutritious, right? And you want to make sure that your body has these optimal things to calm you down. So you're not going into every day overhyped and scrolling and overstimulated and arguing and irritable. You want to be able to be calm as a cucumber so that when triggering events happen or news flashes come about, you're coming from a space of calm and clarity, right? They say the person in an emergency that is the most efficient and effective is the calmest person in the room. It's not the one screaming, emergency, emergency. It's the person who's okay, there's an emergency. What are we going to do? My brain is thinking, I'm taking action. I'm being smart. I'm moving with intention. This is where the place we want to get into as we move into this wild and crazy energy. So, this comes from my health coaching perspective. This comes from the astrology perspective. This comes as your holistic soul big sister perspective. I'm talking about this with my family. I'm talking about this with my closest girlfriends, my neighbors, and I want you guys all to do the same. This is where astrology can help us be 2 steps ahead of the energy. And that was really my goal and my intention for talking about Q2. And, we're going to talk so much more about it in the Astro Weather Report on a day by day, but being able to hear it now is going to help you refresh your brain and then be oh, now's the time that this is actually happening. I remember, I just forgot it was this week. Or you're going to be able to hear it a second time, a third time, so it sinks in. And again, just being prepared. So I'm shocked I got through all of that in an hour and a half. I'm going to take a sip of water. I'm going to stop the recording here. So anyone that's on live, I'll hang out for another 10, 15 minutes, answer any of your questions. If you want to just riff back and forth, pick my brain, I am here for it. So grateful for those of you who are here live and taking your time this evening. And again, you can go back and listen to the recording and all of that. So yeah, let me pause the recording